What's up, everybody? How are you? Real Talk Chronicles. Happy Wednesday. A little cloudy, dreary day, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm your host, Bill Forster, and I got a surprise co-host tonight. My man Amir Sealy right now. I'll be bringing him in shortly, but um, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Every Wednesday, Kevin and Chuck and Rich, they're doing some other things. So I asked some other friends to come in, familiar faces that you should know. So you won't have a problem conversing with them and respecting their dialogue, which I do. So that's why I'm glad that they're here with us tonight too. With that being said, and saying all that, like I said, this is Real Talk Chronicles. If you're watching it from YouTube, subscribe to it. If you're watching it from Facebook, please share it to your social media page so people can see you say what you say and let people hear what we got to say. To get with the sponsorships tonight, uh, Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, excellent speakers, $85, $75 if you mention Real Talk Chronicles, you can get at him. The Deadly Arts of Survival magazine, number one martial arts magazine in the country right now. Real Talk. You can get it on Amazon. I am in one of the segments too, which I'm kind of proud to be part of that. Martial Arts Love and Ingram Taxes. They also do taxes. Ingram Taxes. It's not too late to get your taxes done, and if it is too late to get your taxes done, they can help you out. You really can. What's up, Earl? What's up, Ron? How are you brothers doing? Also, we had a wonderful weekend. We was at the brunch party. We did it up. It's good, excellent. June 16th, we're doing another one, of course, the third Saturday of every month. But this one is One Fish, Two Fish reunion. For those that don't know, in the 90s, I used to promote out the One Fish, Two Fish. And I had Lady D Wells, Emoja, and Howie D DJs in there. I started that. And so we're having a reunion. It's going to be real nice to see a lot of people come back uh, and just show their face to make sure people still alive. Also, the last three sponsors is what's up, Miss Weathers? How are you? Is Melba Wilson on Sunday. Melba is doing a beautiful thing. Uh, the block is closed down. She has the Walker experience doing their thing, Walker Project, Gloria and Raheem tearing it up. I'll be there real soon on a Sunday. And Leon Ellis Chocolat Restaurant and Harlem Underground. The store is closed, but you still can get your clothes online. So all support all these. This weekend, Malika will be in Philly. Soft Illusion Arts Gallery is doing a big festival out there in Manioc. I hope I said it right. She'll get me if I didn't. And a lot of artists will be out there doing their thing. They just did a news thing on channel, I think, 2 in Philadelphia. Is that what it is? CBS, I think, channel 2 in Philadelphia. And they did an interview on Malika and her mother, which was powerful. Also, too, they are up for Art Gallery of the Year in Philadelphia. That's some real righteous stuff, man. You know, some sisters are doing their thing. And then with it saying all that, and without further ado, I got to bring my guy in, um, Mr. Amir Sealy, my brother. I appreciate his dialogue. I appreciate him. And I asked him, I wanted to surprise him tonight. I wanted him to be a guest host. I didn't want to tell him that he was doing that tonight because we're here for a nice, strong hour. Our summer hours for Real Talk Chronicles is only an hour. We're doing only an hour show because we know people want to party, get out. Just you want to relax and do what you got to do. So we just still wanted to give you good content for an hour. So without further ado, I'm bringing in my man, Amir Sealy. What's up, Amir?
Hey, what's going on, Bill? How's everything, brother?
Everything is good. How you feeling, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. To be honest with you, I'm still a little high off for the weekend and the
Good, good.
wonderful event you guys put on at Row House Saturday.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
and just the
Shout out to
vibe and the
Soul
energy
Train.
of,
Yeah.
Father's Day weekend and, all the beautiful things that went along with, that whole Juneteenth and, all the energy of the two combined. Most people got an opportunity to really celebrate a lot of the male figures in their lives. Look, I get it. I know there's the ideology of this and that, and we don't care when we're not a part of certain things, but that's, a lot of that is untrue. But those are also narratives that are, being utilized in order to kind of keep us confused. So I hope that you guys really, like I said, took the opportunity to thank any of the male role models and males in your family who pour into you, who do everything that they can to try to see and hope that you're in the best places possible. That weekend or last weekend really represented that. And then obviously there's the Juneteenth portion, which, so many of us are really just coming into learning about and starting to understand the importance of that holiday as well. So,
And you know what's so funny? I'm glad you said that. So definitely shout out to my man Anthony Bolden's in the building. What's up, brother? One day I got to get you on the show. Mute your thing, yeah, your phone. If it's on your phone, on you mute your phone, and then you can listen to it. And what's going on, brother? I got to get you and your lovely lady on this branch. What's up, Rochelle? I want to talk about that. Like I said, happy Father's Day to all those that we missed and we didn't say to earlier. And I want to ask you, Amir, what does Juneteenth mean to you? I mean, for those that don't know, we can go over it again, but hopefully by now people please look up what Juneteenth means to you. I mean, just what Juneteenth is. In 1865, slaves were supposedly freed, but then really in 1863 and then 1865, they got freed by a general grantor or something like that. So I have to say, with the gun violence, this is going to segue me into my question after that. But just talk about what Juneteenth means to you, Amir.
well, again, I'm hoping that with the advent or at least the ability now to Google just about anything or utilize a lot of these platforms to find out information. Obviously, all the information that you're finding out on these platforms isn't 100% true, so you have to still do your due diligence. But for me personally, just finding out that this holiday or this particular situation had been something that had been for so long either buried or really not shared, so commonly amongst our community. When I first found out about it, I thought it was, sort of like a myth, and it was something that somebody made up in order to kind of gain traction or to give themselves some sort of stronghold on Black culture and things of that magnitude. But then when I started to do my due diligence and realized that this was a very real moment in time that happened here in this country, it at first I was elated, but then I was saddened because, to be honest and to be fair with you, Bill, one of the things that throws me and bothers me again as a collective, not as individuals, is the fact that we don't really have such a great understanding of what our contributions have been to this, beautiful country, good, bad, and different.
Absolutely.
And I think if we had more of an understanding of that, I'd like to believe that then there would be less of us doing things that may seemingly be not as wonderful and glowing, not only for us as a culture, but for them as individuals. Because when you start realizing that you come from inventors, you come from kings, queens, you come from scientists, you come from mathematicians, and things of that magnitude, and you start realizing that those are gifts, as in terms of how you can move forward in life instead of looking at them as curses. Because in our community sometimes we tend to chastise the people who don't look like us, or the people who we think or believe are not the cool kids. So the kid who's really good at math, we give him a tough time because maybe he can't knock down a jump shot, or maybe he's not great at martial arts or something like that.
Yeah.
But the reality of it all is this is a kid who probably can build and erect things that those of us who have some of these other gifts have no clue how to, possibly do. And I think that, or I'm hoping that, again, as a collective, we'll learn to change that narrative, as a community. Because if we start telling these kids that those things are gifts, and when I say start telling these kids these things are gifts, I mean at the earliest stages in their, in their development. I had the pleasure maybe 3 weeks ago now, maybe a little over a month, of doing a career day at a school up in the Bronx that a very good friend of mine is the parent coordinator. And I got a chance to talk to kids in fifth and
I
sixth
think I was
grade.
supposed to be there too. I think so. Yeah. Yes.
And the cool thing about it, Bill, is on my way up there, I didn't know what I was going to say to these children. I was like, what am I supposed to say to these kids? They 10 years old, and then I had to think about it. I said, well, what were you like when you were that age? And I really did. I looked all the way back to my childhood and being in grade school and some of the things that I was into. And I really just went up there, and just like I'm saying now, I started telling those kids, you have gifts right now that at some point, if you embrace them, if you step into them, if you continue to nourish them, nourish them, if you continue to work hard at them, they will put you in the same position that I'm in right now, which is standing in front of kids who at some point you're going to look and go like, I remember this school and I went to this school, but you'll be telling them how those gifts have served you. And that puts you in a position to be able to come back and give back to your community, give back to, a place where you got your start. And it
And
was just, I was going to say,
yes, go
the
ahead.
last thing I was going to say, which was funny, and the reason why I brought up the math and all that stuff is because as I went to each class and I spoke to 3 classes, that's what the kids started asking. The kids started asking fun questions like, "Is swimming a gift?" I was like, "Yes." Is this a yes? All of those are gifts. You just have to know that those things that you are really great at now, or good at now, or working, or you think about them more than you think about certain other things. They're a gift to you, but you gotta embrace it. You gotta take full advantage of it. So that was really really cool.
And what's so funny? I'm glad you said that because I've been doing speaking engagements, mentoring stuff, and the sad thing. What's up, Jacob Ingram? Jacob Ingram was in the building, and what I tell him the problem. I think you might have to mute your phone, Amir.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. And what I seem to find out is that people don't. Not that brothers are not conscious enough to speak to kids, but they don't come out and speak to them as much as we would like to. Because the bottom line is, people come and want to have me come and speak and talk to kids from a law enforcement standpoint. Okay, I can talk from a martial arts. I can talk from a black man being in Harlem. But what about your background? You know what I'm saying? What about another brother background? Like I got Derek Horn is in here. I got Jacob is in here. I got Earl is in here. I got Earl DeLeslie and Earl Majette. Like different brothers from different backgrounds. And it's so hard. Not that these brothers are not willing. I'm not bringing them. I'm not talking about them. But I'm just talking about people in general getting brothers to come out and speak about just being a black man or a man. But we have to rep our skin color, of course, and our ethnicity and in this world. And that segues to me in my questioning to you tonight, the topic that I want to discuss about Juneteenth, segueing into the shooting and the violence. Juneteenth, it was about freeing slaves. Shootout in Harlem. Young athlete got killed. Aspiring athlete, basketball college standout basketball player. Philly, 27 people got shot. I think Chicago, just now. Let me just tell everybody, let's not get this shit twisted. White crime is happening too, right? But we're not hearing about that. With things that's happening with gun legislations, they're trying to change laws and stuff like that. And I wanted to talk about that too with you. But how do we free our mind? There are people out there that are still have that slave mentality. Because let me tell you something. There's no way if you love thy neighbor and love thyself, are you out here really trying to hurt somebody else? What's your comments and thoughts on that, brother? Amir, did you freeze? I think Amir froze, and we'll get him back. Come back, Amir, when you get this chance. So yeah, that's my question to all of those for those tonight. What is your thought process on us killing ourselves? How do we stop it? How do we change it? What do we do? Also, what's your thoughts on the gun laws that they're trying to add? You agree with it? I gotta say this too. Well, I'm for the Second Amendment, right? I don't want people to think I'm not for the Second Amendment. I'm for the Second Amendment. But do I think a little young child should be able to buy a AR-15? Absolutely not. Can an adult? Sure. I see people thinking that, and people of color that are out here fighting like they don't want the Second Amendment. Like nobody's changing the Second Amendment. There are some people that might do that, but listen, stop trying to be super woke and say that you want to stand with the gun laws because it's people with getting shot. We'll talk about that. But I don't know if you heard my last question to you. Did you hear it about what I asked?
I think I did. You asked, how do I feel about the gun violence and the things that I see that are going on,
Yes.
throughout our city and throughout other cities.
Yes.
What's so interesting about that? So I'm one of these people who, fortunately, unfortunately, I have been thankful to not have been directly in and involved in gun violence per se to this point in my life, thankfully. But
Hmm.
to your question in particular, I'm just saddened that we don't have better resolution skills as a whole. I'm not saying we don't have it at all, but I just feel bad that we don't have a better resolution, a better ability to resolve things. One, through just being able to talk things out. Two, through understanding that just because somebody has done something that in your mind you feel is wrong, right or wrong, not taking the time to really think about it and go, is this something that can or can't be repaired? And then the biggest thing that, is bothering me is a lot of the gun violence appears to have not only be taken, obviously our youth, but there are a lot of innocent people who seem to be getting, unfortunately, involved in it by virtue of these people who cowardly, in a cowardly way, are maybe, shooting in open spaces and hoping maybe they'll either hit their target or do whatever their intention may or may not be in those moments. So I just I'm with you. I just think that there needs to be a better way for us to uh, teach young people and old people, older people for that matter, how to be able to deal with conflict. And it shouldn't always end with, what, just because you and I can't see eye to eye doesn't mean we can't agree to disagree.
Absolutely. And without further ado, I'm glad I got my old co-worker with me in the building, my man Mustafa. Mustafa, pronounce your first name because I need to hear the both part of it.
Beher. Beher Mustafa.
They're here, Mustafa.
Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, Mustafa was tardy for the party, but I understand he got kids and they do a
Mm.
thing, and he's all over the place. But Mustafa, I don't know. Did you hear my initial question? I was talking about we talked about Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day to you too, my brother.
Thank you.
And we were just talking about Juneteenth and what it means to our people. And with that happening, with that being said, there's still gun violence all over the world. And I mean, we know it's happening in white communities too, but we're still talking about communities of color. In Harlem, there was 9 people shot, a promising athlete. It doesn't make a difference if he was a promising athlete. He still was a young African-American man that was shot. In Philadelphia, there was 27 people shot over the weekend. I forgot what's happening in Chicago, Florida. Any state, you can pick any state. We can talk about the inner cities. I have people, we all can run to the suburbs, and I get that. But the bottom line is in any city, there's things that's happening. So we understand that Florida, wherever, the news will not hide. What's up, Curtis? How are you? So my question was to you, and what I asked to Amir first, what does Juneteenth mean to you? Because it still means to me, like right now, it means a positive thing, but it seems like people still have a slave mentality and they're caught up in violence amongst themselves. And what do you feel about the violence amongst people of color?
Sure. As far as Juneteenth go, uh, to me and to the conscious people of this society and this world, it means understanding the history and how we got to where we are today,
Mm-hmm.
uh, for the betterment of the African American population.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the vast majority of the population, they're very busy trying to do nothing, thinking that they're doing something. They're focused on materialism. They're focused on worrying about what the latest fad is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
who's going to put out the next big thing, the next big sneakers, Michael Jordan's, uh, Cardi B's coming out with the next hit. They always know the lyrics. They always have the best sneakers. They always have the best clothes. But when you
Mm-hmm.
go to their homes, they have no homes. They own no property. They have no value but the value that they have in their body, and that means nothing. That's worthless in the bigger scheme of things. So to
Yes.
me, at the end, when it comes to violence, I'm going to go back to the bottom line, and the bottom line, which is the mainstream media and the mainstream population who have the power and the ability, including Al Sharpton, including all these people that are coming out here talking about Black Lives Matter. They all have the resources and the platform, including LeBron James, the platform to, in fact, put out this information and drive it down people's throat like they're driving everything else down people. That family is the number one priority. Without family structure, without fathers in the lives of their sons and their daughters, right? You know who's going to be in their lives? The gang bangers, the gang wannabe gang members, who is looking for that young lad who's seeking validation, and they're not getting it from their fathers, nor their mother, nor their uncle, nor anyone around them. So they get it from these organizations that are not looking to benefit their personal life, but benefit some agenda that's destroying their lives. And that's what we have to understand, and we have to drive down people's heads. And that's why I don't like watching TV anymore. I control what comes on in my house. I got rid of cable. I got rid of Disney. I got rid of Netflix. All those things are distractions. You see, yeah, you can watch movies, but you got to be very calculated in what movies you watch. Yeah, you can play video games, but be very calculated in what type of games and what type of message that you're sending out to your children. You know what? When you're around your friends, your older friends, and you guys want to chit chat about certain things, yeah, you can chit chat about, but be very mindful that what you say in front of your kids is getting embedded into their minds. So and I see this day in and day out, that the adults in the communities are not playing a significant role in helping to enhance the future generations, and it's broken. And the politicians, look, I went to a meeting and Darcel Clark was there. You see, Morris Park Association. And I was at the meeting, and she's talking a whole good game. And she's a Black woman. She's African American, right? And of course, I had to raise my hand. I'm a retired member of the service, 16 years in narcotics, 8 years as a UC. And I raised my hand and I asked her very blunt and simple, why aren't you why are you giving the green light for criminals, right? Let's say, to think that it's okay, or the criminal mindset to think it's okay to commit crimes. Accountability.
Right.
You know, and she danced around all these things, mumbo jumbo, mumbo, la, la, la. At the end of the day, nothing changed. And it's not going to change. It's not going to change until the community wakes up and they understand that the system is not designed to bring you up. It's designed to keep you down and make you think that you got something, because they're giving you change. They're giving you scraps and crumbs. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening. They're giving you crumbs. They're giving you a card that you swipe every month. So what? That's pennies.
Right.
You know, this is what I'm saying. It's pennies. Like, why aren't you worried about getting one? I'm not saying you need to get a PhD, but maybe get a trade school. And what are they doing? Are they providing that in the public school? No, they're talking about, no, they're not. They're giving us garbage. You know what? They're teaching our kids. I don't want to bring this up because I know that's not the topic. They're softening our kids up. Our boys, they want our boys, our young boys, to be.
Say it. I know you want to say. I know you want to say. Oh,
they want to strip our boys' testicles.
Yeah.
And put a uterus in their bellies. Mm-hmm. Right. That's what they're doing. That's what they progressive. No, that's not happening here. Not in this house. And I'm not teaching my kids that ever.
Got you.
So,
with that being said, Mustafa, I wanted to surprise you tonight. You and Amir are my co-host tonight. So you're so you two. It's about the three of us tonight. Everybody, shout out to Kevin, Rich, and Chuck. They're all around the world and the country doing stuff. So I thought about you guys because you've been definitely supporters of Real Talk Chronicles, and I enjoy conversing with both of you. And Amir and I, we hang. That's my guy. And Mustafa, you and I, we've done that UC for life thing that can never be taken away from anybody for us. And I say all that to say, so I wanted you guys to be a part of this. And I didn't want to tell you over the phone when I texted you earlier to be a part of it. I didn't want to tell you he was going to be a co-host. So it's just about you two and me and everybody else. Everybody else, you heard what Mustafa said. What's your thoughts and comments on that? I'm getting some agreements and stuff like that, some stars and on it. Amir, what do you think about what he said? Please.
You know, it's so funny. The only thing that I would add to it, I absolutely agree with everything he's saying. And in the same sentence, I'll say the unfortunate thing that they've done too is duped some of our women into believing or buying into this testosterone laced kind of energy. So we see, to his point about how, we do and don't have the family structure as we once, did or should, because there's all this, I don't need a man, I'm a boss, and, all these nefarious things that we, or that they say, that have energy behind it that I don't think, and I think that is always a major part to all of this. Everything that we're seeing is energy laced. Now, the question is, what kind of energy is it laced with? And is it energy that is either doing something to empower you, or is it energy that's doing something to disempower you? Yes. Either way, that's really what we have to kind of take a good hard look at. I'll also just add to that, not only is it, the TV and, like you said, the video games, but it's the music as well. A lot of the arts are now in question in my mind, because again, I'm assuming the three of us are, a little bit older than maybe, some of the people who might be watching or whatever, or the people going to watch this later. But I always say, even the music is in question now, because the newer songs don't necessarily have the same energy as the songs that we grew up on and the songs that our parents grew up on. A lot of them sung about love and about hope and, things of that magnitude. A lot of the stuff now is laced with energy that's a lot more progressive, quote unquote, and or just in your face versus innuendo and having to use imagination. I know for me, when I do have the, like you said, the opportunity to converse with people, I always laugh about how seemingly far we've come in theory, but how far we still have to go, because, now most of us are in the space where we have, if you do have a TV, you have a 45-inch or 50-inch TV. 19 inches used to be the biggest TV we had when we were young, and that was saying something. That was a floor model and the whole nine. And now you don't even have, you got computer screens that are 23 inches. So that just goes to show you how quickly that's, evolved. But I say this as well. I think one of the other challenges that we have, again, as a collective, is there seems to be evolution in every other format of our lives. TVs have evolved, radios have evolved, telephones have evolved. Relationships don't seem to be evolving as quickly as some of these other things. Cars have evolved. You got electric cars now, all these nefarious things. So I think that that's something else that we have to take a good hard look at, is where was the evolution of these things? Why haven't we evolved in these spaces? And what will it take for us to evolve in these spaces? I tend to believe, what he said, we definitely have to go back to the basics, but I know that having the man in the home is paramount. This is not to offend any of the ladies who are tuning in, who will be watching this later. But my mom says this to me all the time. And now as I get older, I really understand it and believe it. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. That ain't the guys. Yeah. So it's really up to a lot of these mothers to get back to the coddling and telling your kids that they're smart, they're handsome, they're beautiful, they matter, and all of those things.
I have to interject because I don't want to forget what I'm saying. Next week, if you two are free, I'm putting the first, Real Talk doesn't go with segments, but I'm going to put this segment out. When I'm saying segment, this topic out. If you two are free, I'll invite some other men or some women too. Any women can join. We'll try to even do a big panel discussion with this. And we'll do it. It's like I said, we're doing summer hours. So 1 hour. If you're free, I'm putting it out to you two right now. What happened to the masculinity in men? You know what I'm saying? Because you guys are hitting it on the head, and you see everybody is commenting, talking about, yo, I agree with both of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting all. I'll read it. It's right here. Valid point, Amir. Absolutely, Amir. I feel it. Amir's comments. Dollar. Oh, okay. Stefania said, "Wow." When she says women are masculine, men are feminine, then the women wonder why we're here. To reinforce the foolishness in today's society. Mustafa coming with the facts. Stefania said. Rochelle says, "Amen, Mustafa." Amir, thank you. Dana says, "I agree with Mustafa." So what I'm saying, Cheryl White says, "Mustafa, you are so right." So what I'm trying to say is, let's just talk about that next week too. No, I'm not telling you not to get off it now. You say I want you guys. This is your show tonight. It's Amir and Mustafa's show along with this is their version of Real Talk Chronicles. Because the bottom line is, I get it. There's still a lack of structure. The common denominator is a lack of structure in home. No matter what, I've always said, if you, I don't care what your religion is. As long as you follow the 10 commandments or some sort of 10 commandments, you should be a good person. Now, we're not talking like Mustafa always says, about what you feel and believe inside the home. You understand what I'm saying? But the one thing that I do know, I'm assuming that we all was brought up with a village. And that we have lost that village. And that's why our youth are out here so delusional and killing each other. And that is a problem in its own. We understand that there's certain counterparts, people of all ethnicities, that don't want to change any gun laws. They want to get into the debate of, mass shootings are what happened over the weekend at cookouts and barbecues and stuff like that. Okay, if you want to add that into it, but we're not talking about, that was the senseless thing that happened in Harlem too. But we're talking about, when we talk about mass shootings, I think most of us equate somebody going in someplace, school, church, synagogue, and shooting people that they have no reason to shoot because they just hate them. A lot of these shootings in the street are gang related, turf, this BS bullshit. You know what I'm trying to say? But for somebody to go shoot somebody, go to a synagogue or a mosque and shoot a bunch of Muslims because they don't like Muslims, or they shoot church. Yes, exactly. This is the problem. Supermarket, Buffalo. Yeah, shooting innocent people, kids. Come on, man. Kids are the most purest, innocent thing. That if that didn't touch anybody's heart right now, they're talking about changing the laws to, like, you have to be 21 or something like that, a 10-day background check or something like that if you want to get some kind of guns. So, but I just, like I said, this is Real Talk Chronicles, everybody. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host Amir and my co-host Mustafa. See, that like that. That's how I'm gonna flow with this shit. This is sponsored by the Ingram Taxes, Daily Arts of Survival Magazine, Soft Illusions, Reggie Wells. I've got a bunch of sponsors, so we're doing it. Can't forget Melba and Leon Ellis. I'll get back to them. But Stefania said, Rochelle said, inner beauty is still priority. Lou said, division in home shouldn't be division in raising our child. Jacob said, it's a problem to be masculine these days. Absolutely. Angel Ray said, we have lost value of the role of a man, father, etc., representing core values. I totally agree. Shout out, cuz. I see you, Kendra, in the building. Angel Ray said, as women, we must support our men, pray with and for them, our children at a risk. Stefania said, in Georgia, they are no longer do background checks. The government signed that law today. Wow, talk about madness. So with that being said, Angel Ray, Mustafa, and Amir, can you come on next week, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, 7:00. Angel Ray, I'm asking you, can you come on, Lisa, so we could talk about this? Any other female that wants to be a part, send me a heart or 5 or type your name in and say you want to be a part of this conversation. We're going to talk about what happened to the men, with dealing with the masculinity and the feminine, aspect of what's happening to our men in this world. So, listen, it's real talk. Yes, it may not be what you want people. Go ahead. What's up?
Let me point something out that I've been making an observation for a long period of time now. Mm-hmm. Take a look at black men as opposed to white men, right? Okay. And you take a look at something that's very common now.
Hold on, Mustafa. I don't want you to give away too much juice, but I give him a snippet of what you're going to say. But go ahead. I know, because I want him to turn in next week. So I just don't care what
I want to talk about the attire.
Yes.
What the presentation, the appearance. Okay, the appearance of what a black man. How should a black man present himself, and a white man presenting himself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's the snippet. I'm not gonna say much more, but
Yeah,
because
no,
you know what?
because we're gonna talk. Listen next week.
Yeah,
If you're sensitive,
don't get on.
don't
Get
get on.
on.
It is. And listen, we on YouTube, so you might have to tell people to go to YouTube because I don't know what's going to happen on Facebook. They might bump a brother, but the bottom line is it needs to be discussed that a lot of us are getting too soft.
Mm-hmm.
Too soft. And this has nothing to do with how we feel about our LGBT people community.
Oh,
No, I'm just saying. I'm just putting
wait a
that.
minute. What?
But I'm just saying. Listen,
You can't.
because you know what I'm going to do if I can get him to come on. I'm going to ask a gay man to come on next
Come
week.
on, bring him.
Yes, so he can talk. And I know I'm talking about a masculine gay man. You know what I'm trying to say? And maybe a masculine.
Many of them.
No, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that because we need to talk about how I've even had conversations with them like that, where they're like, "Yo, wait a minute." They feel out of pocket, like, like somebody's not going to listen to them because they're gay. You understand what I'm trying to say? But this is still about the youth and how they are being viewed and not being viewed, and how they're acting in the streets, killing each other. So I right now, I just want to read a comment. My niece said, Dana said, my car was down for the last 6 days, and not one guy knew how to jump a car, but they have an AR-15 and bids prior to this change in tire. It's mind-blowing, and I have a jumper, cables, and the tools. The lifters, drivers, offer assistance. Guys are different these days. Absolutely. So Lisa Ray, Angel Ray is in with us tomorrow. So I got Amir, I got Mustafa, I got Angel Ray. What's up, Tracy? How are you, sis? Curtis, my man, is in. How are everybody? I'm going to get some more people. I'm going to open it up next week. So we're going to have a little dais in this joint. So Mustafa and Amir, what's your thought? I know we talked about the TV. We talked about that. We talked about the men being more sensitive. I'm going to say that right now, more sensitive than the way we were brought up. How do we stop this gun violence, though?
You want me to?
Yeah, I'll go with you first. I'll go with you, Mustafa.
All right. This is my perspective, and based on my experience, right? And there are plenty of people out there that have a lot more experience than me, and particularly those that have grown up, right, in the neighborhood, and furthermore, the ones that have been involved in the criminal enterprise.
Yes.
Right. And are now reformed. Those people are the PhDs, have the PhDs of reform. Of course, they're never listened to because you know what, they don't have a PhD, so they don't know anything. They perhaps don't even have a high school diploma, so they're dumb, they're stupid, they don't know anything, which is contrary to my experience in dealing with the prisoners. And the best part of being a police officer as a detective in narcotics and interacting with the prisoners head on and challenging their minds and seeing how intelligent and how they can hold that conversation and bounce back ideas back and forth. And that's what I used to do, and the opportunity that I took when I was in that situation. And as far as addressing gun violence, okay, number one, you have to do this. Okay, we have to come down. We have to change laws, and we have to make it. Have to send a message, physical message, that it's not going to be tolerated in the criminal justice system. It's just going to have to happen that way. And the idea that people can carry guns and get caught, get locked up, get introduced to the system, and then out the next day, and get a slap on the wrist because it's going to be deemed racist or is ridiculous. You need to drop the hammer. I believe in that. Okay. Right. Number two, that's not the long-term solution to a broken system, but just temporary solution to send a message, because you need accountability. You need to show some form of accountability. That's one. Two, once you have that in place, you have to have something else in place that once they're in the system, they have to be part of a program that they cannot leave. They have to be part of a system, a program in place where they're going to be indoctrinated. or re-indoctrinated into what's right and wrong. And I'm gonna bring in people, right? I'm doing like a Can't Play slogan right now. I'm gonna bring in people that are former reformed criminals. Okay, these are the people that are gonna go in there, not just I'm reformed, but I'm still dabbing on some coke and selling dime bags on the corner. No, the real guys, the real dudes, the real women out there that are truly reformed, and they're gonna go in there. They're gonna be their teachers, and if they need a job, they got a job, and that's will be their job. You understand?
Awesome.
And that's how it has to be, and that's how it will be. And the other option is you go into prison. Have a nice day.
Yeah. I mean, before I bring Amir in, you know, I think they need to take the gun laws up to instead of that 1 year, which I don't know what's happening with that. Let's go to 5 years now. You know what I'm saying? You got to feel some kind of pain. Amir, what's your thoughts?
I think the idea of, like you said, making the gun laws much more stringent is a great thing. But I think, you know, one of the other keys that we have to get back to is, you know, they need to put back or bring back in place to something that Mustafa said earlier. We need trades back in school. Cats used to learn how to be a mechanic. You used to learn how to be a carpenter and things of that magnitude in school. You got so good at it that you never really had to go outside of certain things because it was already something that you started feeling empowered by, because you could do something that maybe your boys couldn't do. You could do something and help, you know, your neighbors and, you know, things of that magnitude. We also need our places that we've had that were security for our kids back. So, you know, we need the Boys and Girls Clubs back. We need the PALs back, and, you know, places of that magnitude, because a lot of us didn't get into drama and didn't get into trouble because we spent most of our time and days there. So after school, if you couldn't go home or didn't go home to, you know, your mother's house or whatever, you went to the PAL, and they had you doing your homework there at the PAL. They had you in basketball and football and, you know, all these other various programs that allowed you to also take that maybe extra energy that you don't have an opportunity to channel in a specific way. It gave you ways to be able to channel that energy.
Amir,
you
so
know,
I'm gonna stay with you. You just hit a topic that's so righteous and prevalent. You talk about after school programs, PALs, or whatever. Like, you know, you and I, we played sports, basketball, and other sports. Our coaches became our role models too.
yes.
You understand what I'm saying? They became mentors, like even with martial
Yes.
arts. You know, you become a mentor to a kid. I still kids I taught when it was little from Harlem Children's Zone. Sensei, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I'm still a fixture. I have people in my building that shout out to Cliff Bars and stuff like that. My man, little young brothers Joe and Hector. They was like, yo, I'm like their big brother, their mentor to them. He's somebody they could go to and talk to about relationships, problems that they may not be able to converse with their mother and father. And that's something important that you were saying. So I'm gonna let you continue, but I just wanted to really reiterate that is a village that we all are missing right now today.
And then, you know, the last part, and you just touched on it, is the whole village mentality. I'm sorry that we've gotten to a place, or I feel sorry that we've gotten to a place where, in all fairness, because we see something, meaning, and when I say see something, I'm not talking about something super out of hand, but if you see young people in particular, and they're not utilizing their best judgment in the moment, because, you know, I grew up and came up in a time and age, and I still do this now, and I'm 53 years old, but I see sometimes, even when I'm on the train, I still ride the trains, but I'm on the trains. And, you know, like I said, these kids are listening to music that may or may not be conducive for the whole entire car, but they're doing one or two things. They either have the music on playing, and the music is, you know, like I said, detrimental and or harsh to the people in the car, or they're saying the lyrics. See, I grew up still, when I would see elders, I would curb my conversation and or find a way to maybe, we'll continue this later when Mr. and Miss such and such aren't around. And then the last thing that, you know, I think that we have to get back to, and this is, you know, what I alluded to a little bit earlier, like I said, it's all got to start in the home, and we've got to get back to the basics. I'm so disheartened again when I ride the trains. I watch people, men in general, not give seats to women, whether they elder or just a woman in general.
Yeah.
I watch guys not hold the door. I've seen guys rush out of a space and almost knock a woman over. I'm like, sir, like,
So disrespectful. So disrespectful.
yeah.
Go
So
ahead, Mustafa. I know you want to chime in. Go ahead, Mustafa.
So we live in 2022, right? Men can do what women can do, and women can do what men can do, right?
Yeah.
So apparently, right? So if there and this idea that feminism is liberating, well, in fact, it's destructive, right? So now when we talk about men not wanting to give up their seat, right? Well, women can do what men can do. So what so you can stand up there, right? And just like a man will, right?
Mhm.
And you can open your own door, right? Because you believe in feminism, right? It's 2022. So you could open up your own door, drive your own car, go get your own job, pay your own bills, right? If you believe this is an idea, you can have your cake and eat it too, and then complain about it. You
Right.
see, and this is the society, and this is the like Mia was saying is absolutely correct. But
Yes.
this is what society and this progressive agenda has created an atmosphere that has taken away the duties and the responsibilities of men, and gave a false idea that women can do everything on their own. So and it separated men from the house, right, and increased the single households, and it's not realistic. It's not reality. It's fantasy land. It's Hollywood. It's Hollywoodish. How about that?
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? And people have to speak up, and or if they want to live in fantasy land, don't come later on and say, "Oh, I can't find me a good man. Oh, men are no good nowadays." No, you're no good, right? Because you're walking around like a little hoochie mama, right? With your booty hanging out and your
Uh-oh.
is flying all over the place. What man wants that for? What man, excuse me, wants their wife, right, to birth a daughter, and that to be an example for their daughter? Because that's what's going to happen. If your wife is a hoochie mama, your daughter's going to end up a hoochie mama.
Real talk, everybody. That's
Well,
Amir Silly. That's Mustafa. We
That's
have a
the
real
truth.
talk tonight, baby. Listen, let me tell you something. My co-host is bringing it. Yo, Kev, Rich, Chuck, y'all better handle your business. You might be out of a job. Damn it.
No.
Just shout out to my fellas and stuff like that. Everybody give some hearts up to these guys. Bridget said we do need our village back, and we need brothers and big sisters to mentor our youth that don't have a mother or father figure to look up to. Tracy said, don't blame it on women because we can as many times have to do it all. Mark McGuire is in the building. Hey, Mark, how are you feeling? Tracy, if you're free next week, I want you to be a part of this conversation we're going to have. Rochelle said the village and respect is so needed. Chad said, yeah, we definitely. Dana said, my exact thought, where's the village and the mentors? Curtis said, summertime events, exactly. Track, baseball, basketball, etc. Rochelle said, trade schools and other school programs are a win-win. Bridget said, I totally agree with Mustafa on this. Shout out to Derek Rock, Carnegie in the building. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host this evening, Amir Silly and Mustafa. The show is also sponsored by Melba Wilson and Leon Ellis Chocolat. Yeah, we dropping jewels tonight. That's what I'm trying to say. So we segueing to next week. Next week, Wednesday, we coming with all fire. Listen, I'm trying to put a panel. I already got 2 men. I got Angel Ray. I'm gonna find another female. I want another female. I'm gonna reach out and 2 females, and I'm trying to reach out to my other boy. And of course, I know Kevin won't be here next week. So this is just us, yo. So next week, this is us next week. We kicking ass. So like I said, Tracy said, Mustafa, you speak as if it's all. Say some because it's not all. So she wants you to preference your dialect because when you say all means all, and she wants you to say some because there's some in everything. There's some bad people in everything, and there's some good people in all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say. So the bottom line is, with that being said, Tracy, if you're free next week, I would love for you to come in. We're having a conversation. Next week's topic. Anybody that wants to be a part of the day, I can't go crazy with it. I might go past 2 hours. I may go past an hour. That might be a special edition because what everybody has to say cannot be said within an hour. But I might go past because people want to articulate themselves, and I need people to articulate themselves because people will be rebuttaling what some people say, and some people may totally agree. Like tonight, everybody is feeling this, and this all started because the conversation was about Juneteenth and the mind of our people still being enslaved, and how media still portrays us, because we're not hearing about the rural areas and Billy Joe Ball and Bobby Ray shooting each other. We're not hearing about that. We're hearing about Pookie, Ray, Jose, and Miguel, Lulu, Billy, and Amir and Mustafa shooting each other, and which is because that's newsworthy. That's what's happening, and that's the problem in the world. But the bottom line is it's still happening. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, some people are talking about where's Black Lives Matter. My stance on that is, listen, they didn't sign up to say they were speaking out for black on black crime. They were talking about police brutality. Well, people want to deviate and change what their topic is. I get that, because I think they're just easy to talk. But the bottom line is, they ain't talking about they ain't asking Trump and other people to come out and speak out. You know, we harder on our own than we are our constituents. You know,
can I say something, Bill?
Huh?
Can I say something to contradict what you said?
Oh, please do. I'm listening.
All right, listen. You said Black Lives Matter didn't come out to talk about violence, right? They talked about the main purpose, which is true, is to address police brutality, right? Which is fine.
If you go to their website and you Google what their main objective was, that's all they say.
Okay. Now, let's talk about what they really did, right? They used the black agenda and the conditions of how African Americans are being treated.
Don't forget our brothers and sisters in it too. Okay, go ahead. Yes,
they basically have used this agenda to introduce and push the gay agenda, and it's all it is now. Right, I'm sorry to say this, and I don't know. It's not about nothing, but this is what it is, because I've seen it.
It's your mouth in my ears, brother.
Hey, listen. You be as gay as you want. It's not my business. It's really not. But it's what it is right now. Right? You go to rallies, go to protests. I encourage everyone. If you don't believe, go to a BLM protest. Go. What you're gonna see is Black Lives Matter in three chants. And then it's going to be Queer Lives Matter, Gay Lives Matter, all women's lives matter. Like there's more than one set of rules for what a woman is. But to them, there is, right? You could be a man identifying as a woman, and they're classifying that as that all women's lives matter, right? It's not, and they're introducing this in Black America, brother. Let me ask you something. The press secretary for the White House, she's a black woman, right? We talked about this, right?
Right.
She's from Haiti. She's Haitian descent, right?
Yes.
But why they're proud to say that she's a black woman and hate gay, lesbian. Wow, amazing. Right. Now let's say your daughter, you have daughters, and they're looking at this. How are they supposed to analyze this as young black women, right? Oh. Come on, man.
No. Listen, Mustafa, I'm not disputing. Listen,
but that's what's happening.
Hold on. But the one thing is, if I'm a heterosexual man, my wife is heterosexual, right? If we had a child together, I would not want anybody jamming how to be gay or down their throat. I'm not disputing that. I'm with you on that. You understand what I'm saying?
Got it.
This is the culture we live. This is the world that we live in right now. It's just like the world that we live in between red states and blue states. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just certain things that are inevitable. But the bottom line is, we gotta you and I talked about the Disney thing. Disney was talking about like doing like a LGBT thing. Like
they're doing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like really? Like what happened to Snoopy and Mickey Mouse and shit? Like. Go ahead, Amir. I know you want to chime in. Go ahead.
I just, again, just to add to, add some more flavor to this conversation. Two things. First off, everything that we're witnessing and experiencing is an agenda of some sort. Like I said, energy could be one of two things. It could either empower you or disempower you. The only thing I'll add to that, which I think is funny, and I'm glad he brought up the letter community. I find it interesting. If everybody's not living under a rock, there is a WNBA basketball player who,
Yes.
unfortunately, right now is incarcerated in Russia.
Absolutely.
And I'm only bringing this up because somebody else brought this up, and I had to think about it once they brought it to my attention. They said, if the letter community is as powerful as they appear to be, and if they're as incensed about certain things as they supposedly are,
Why
then
where's
the marching for her? Where's the protest? Where's the outrage? Now, again,
right.
I'm not saying that they are not doing it because of her being a sister or because they don't like that. That's not what I'm saying. This world is set up to pick and choose certain moments and or agendas that they then facilitate for the masses to then become a part of for their own reasoning. Our job as men and women and as human beings is to disseminate the information and really look deeper below the surface. Because to the same point that I just brought up, if we all remember, Dave Chappelle earlier this year.
He went in.
No, but if you remember, he was going to be canceled because of and he didn't say anything against it because his whole story was around the fact that he had somebody who was close to him who was a part of the community. So if you really listen to the story, you would have understood that he was talking about this particular person's journey in theory and what it really meant, to Mustafa's point, in conjunction with the way that they push the agenda alongside or over the top on the back of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yes.
But I bring that, and like I said, I'm adding this to the conversation because that's the problem. We are always late to understand that the agenda that is being perpetrated on us is already too late by the time some of us come to that understanding. Not everybody, but some of us. And because that's the case, then we have this splintered whole, situation going on now where if Bill or Mustafa says something that I don't agree with, I think that they're against me, as opposed to them just giving a different point of view and or perspective so that maybe I could look at it in a different light and go, you know what? I hadn't looked at it from that perspective. Not you're right and I'm wrong, or either perspective is right or wrong. It's just a different perspective. And I'm hoping that, through your show and through, having these kinds of conversations, that's what starts to happen. Open your mind up to go, oh, wow, I hadn't even thought about that. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just a different perspective. But let's start giving each other that leeway and work from there. Don't just shut down other people's ideologies or other people's perspectives because it doesn't coincide with yours. Absolutely. We all come from different journeys. We all get to these points through different avenues and different ways. So the real reason why we all see it differently is because we took a different route. I didn't come to this the same route as Bill or the same route as Mustafa. I came to this route a different way. So obviously the things that I picked up along my journey is why my perception or my ideology is set up the way that it is. But it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just an ideology. So I hope that we get better.
And you know what's so funny? I applaud what you said, because the bottom line is, I think your faith. Amir, what's your faith?
To be honest with you, I don't have a faith, but I'm gonna clear that up right quick. So Bill knows this because he knows a little about my background. My parents grew up in the Muslim movement. My father, like I said, now I could say it because my mom told me that's what he said. He protected the late great Malcolm X. He said he protected his brother and his friend. He doesn't say he was a bodyguard. He said he protected his brother and his friend. So my parents grew up in the movement. They did not give us that same kind of direction. They allowed us to choose, what we felt worked for us. So I got a chance to go hang out with my cousins in the South who went to church and all that stuff. So I got a chance to see, all sides of everything. I just say I'm a very spiritual person because for me, that's what works for me. There's no disrespect to any religion or any secular religion. That's what works for me.
This is good. This is great because I know you do practice Ramadan and stuff like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you, and I'm going to finish it off when I'm going to say, and Mustafa, what is your religion?
I'm Muslim.
Okay, so I say all that to say, I was born Baptist. I went to Catholic grammar school, high school. I've never changed Baptist. I I have friends, as you can see, everybody in the Real Talk on the RTC world from different walks of life, Catholic, whatever it is, Jewish, whatever it is. I have friends that are all that it expands my knowledge. I say all that to say that we all have a common degree of knowledge and feel that we agree on certain something's wrong with happening to the man of color, or it could be a white man, a black man, or a man. We're just saying right now we can say men are becoming more feminine, and that's a problem. We also agree that the village of raising men has been watered down, and that is a problem too. You know, shout out to the strong sisters and the women out here, white, black, whomever, Spanish, whoever you are, that have been a single mother and you raised your child to the best of your abilities. You understand what I'm saying? Because I know some women to this day that have used a village, still use the assets that she had to raise her children. I won't put a, I mean, shoot, shout out to Sister Brenda. Um, Happy birthday to her too today, because the bottom line is she did that. She used the church, the martial art, the Blue Nile that we were all upon the mentoring program to help raise her children. So she, let me tell you something. If she meticulously did it and plotted, that's what she did. But it still can be done. It's for those out there that want to do that. And the moral of my story is that the fact of it is we still have to save these children to this day. The children out here today. Because let me tell you something. Not that a person can't hang out at a barbecue. My intel tells me that the barbecue was going good until 12:30. There's right now, there's no reason for anybody going that was supposed to go there at that barbecue and cookout on 139th Street and shoot it up. It was moved, but there was no reason for, there was no rift right now that unbeknown to us. So right now, but can we say have an athlete out there standing out there hanging out? Yeah, of course. But then who's this person to say, yo, you an athlete? Your ass supposed to be go home and go to bed at 11 o'clock because you got to go practice because you got a dream. Everybody else out here, let's start cleaning this shit up because we got a dream that we just want to love each other and be peaceful. So there are some demonic things out there going through the people's heads that are causing people to still be volatile to each other. We have to stop that. We really do. I'm going to read some comments, and then I'm going to let Amir and I'm going to let Mustafa close out, and then I'm going to let Amir close out, and then we're going to drop the bomb next Wednesday, baby. We're going to come in here. We kicking down doors. Rochelle said conversations and communication and compensation is key. Curtis, shout out to Curtis. He said the times are changing. The example of common flu is not being called COVID. Amir is on point. Absolutely. Shout out to Bridget. She said, preach, my brother. Absolutely. Amir, Rochelle said, Amir is on point. Mindset. Chet said, 100% mic drop. Rochelle said, divine feminine are not settling. Divine feminine are not settling for breadcrumbs. I would say we have work in our communities and we must instill principles and lifestyle, substance, quality. The agenda needs to be different. Stefania said, Karine Jean Pierre, Lord, I can't even get into that. Just know as a part of the Haitian community, we see the foolishness. Well, we're going to have to talk about that. Curtis said the news focuses on negative. That's where the ratings come to play. A number game rating, absolutely, because we can see it's positive that I'm dropping it now. It's so hard to let me tell you something. I won't divulge my numbers, but I get good numbers, but they can be so much better. Let me tell you something. You get a rapper come on and talk about he hates somebody else, he get over 1,000 likes. I come on and drop this shit right now tonight, I get maybe 300. Those are just facts. Why? And appreciate all those who share. Stefania said Mustafa does his research. I see. LOL. Tracy, she said enough already. I think you might have pushed a little a needle on her chair, Mustafa. I'm assuming she's talking about you. Tracy, you can put clarity to that. Stefania said Black Lives Matter ran off with their 90 million. How embarrassing. You know what's so funny? You're right about that, Stefania. I guess me personally, are we so quick to throw our own people under the bus, but we're not throwing everybody else under the bus? That's just where I'm at with this shit. And I'm just going to say this. I have never talked about a Black person that's supposed to have been a leader because I don't hear white people talking about a white person that's their leader. To this day, white people are not denouncing Trump. They're not denouncing David Duke. They're not denouncing anybody. The Proud Boys, these boys, that boys. They're not doing it. But we the first one, and I'm not talking about you, Stefania, personally. I'm just talking about us. We the first one to talk about this group, this guy, that guy. Why are we doing that? You know what's so funny? Now, yes, this is our show, so we can say what we want to say. We call out anybody we want to call out. No disrespect. If you wrong, you wrong. I get it. But the bottom line is we throw darts at our own skin tone faster than we throw darts at anybody else. And then now the people that are against us throw darts at us. So now you get a double-edged dart. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, that's just my personal feeling. That's how I feel about it. Bridget says, it's all lives, not just Black lives. Absolutely. Mustafa said, once again comes with the facts. Stefania said, first wave feminism made sense for the white woman that initiated it. The third wave feminism have won. Feminism has won. Has woman miserable. Wow. Okay, Mustafa, give us some closing remarks. Give us some closing remarks, and then and some closing remarks and some positive affirmation all in one. And then Amir, you do the same, and then I'll close it out, and then we will be back next Wednesday, baby. I can't wait. I want to go to bed right now just so we can get back to Wednesday.
You want to sleep until Wednesday, right?
Exactly. Go ahead, Mustafa. Give us some love.
All right. Let me just say, I'll do the positive affirmation at the end. Let me just say that the system was created and designed for a specific way and a specific reason, right? And if we understand that, we will know how to navigate around it to end up on top of it, on top of the system. Mm-hmm. But if we continue to think that we're waiting for the creator of the system, right, to build the bridge for us, right. Then you know what? Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. You might as well just learn how to swim because you're gonna drown. And you know what? Most people don't know how to swim. So, figuratively speaking, not not literally speaking, but so then you build those bridges. And now, if you learn how to build as a society, as a community, we have to be critical of our own in order to address the problem. No matter what other people, we can't worry about what other communities are doing if they're shooting one another or not. Yeah, they are. The violence, white on white violence is there. White on white rape is there. White on white gang is there. But we're not there to focus on them. You know what's funny? Like when the whole heroin pandemic hit, guess what? It was no longer a crime. It was a condition. It was a mental health issue. It was a health issue. Why? Because it destroyed white America. Yes. It went through white America and I'm not talking about regular Joe Schmo, judges' children, politicians' children, all kinds of rich folks with power. Their kids were getting caught up, and they're still getting caught up now. Now it's not a mental health. Now it's not a crime anymore. You see how they take care of the situation, right? So we got to do the same thing, right? And we got to be critical of ourselves, right? You can't be pointing at others until you point at yourself. And I know you understand you don't like to criticize your own, but yeah, you have to because you got to put people.
No, let me just interject. I have no problems criticizing our own, but I just think we are so critical of our own before we criticize everybody else. And then it's just like a child when he comes home, he got a bad report card, and he comes home and he already feeling bad because the teacher making him feel stupid because getting the F, you ain't telling me I'm smart. You know what I'm saying? And the teacher ain't hitting you talking about, oh, do better next time, little Billy. The teacher's like, yo, you got an F. Why? I'm going to call your parents. So now you got to come home and present this to your parents. And now you sit here and you give them the report card. Now, especially in Amir, you might co-sign this. I don't know. Mustafa, you might co-sign this. Getting a bad report card from my era, late 60s, early 70s, you might have got slapped and beat up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So now you're feeling like, yo, I'm stupid. And then you're hearing the word. What's wrong with you? Are you stupid? What's the problem? Get your shit together. I didn't spend this money for that. You're better than that. What is wrong with you? You understand what I'm trying to say? So now
No,
I'm just telling you why my mindset has come from a more, listen, we've been beat up enough. I hear white people tell us all the time, I don't want to hear about slavery no more. Well, who the hell I'm gonna talk to about it? Because black people didn't enslave us. We enslaving ourselves now. We have a slave mentality. Now I'm keeping it 100 with that. But the bottom line is, if we can't get the people that are ancestors to the people that embodied the slavery, then who gonna change the mentality? Now, don't get me wrong, Mustafa. I feel no pity for the person on the corner that knows better, that's committing crimes. I feel no pity for him. You understand what I'm trying to say?
right.
But the bottom line is, how do we change that? That's
Right.
that's where I'm at right now. We can always talk about the problem, but let's get with the solution. And my thing is right now, I'm not going to beat up on you. I'm not going to beat up on Amir, and then I'm not going to join the conversation at the bar. And Mustafa, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not joining the conversation at the bar with everybody else, and they're going to beat up on us too. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's all I'm trying to say. So go ahead, brother, finish, and then I'll whenever you're ready, I'll go to the Amir. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So let me close off by giving you a positive.
No, rock on. Go ahead, rock on your feelings, brother. I'm gonna let you rock.
No, I don't want to extend this longer because I could be here for a couple of hours. So this is what I'm going to say, and this is what I like to tell young people in particular, and those who still holding on to their own issues, is that we grew up with parents and a mother, a woman, and a man got together, and through God's will allowed you to be born. And we all went through experiences, negative and positive. And I tell people every day is, don't allow your mother and father's imperfections to create and build up inside you, and be the person that you hated the most when you were growing up.
That's real.
And many times I see this, that as much as you hated what your parents were and how they behaved towards you or towards your siblings overall, and you hated it so much, but in fact you've become that person. And we need to wake up and be conscious of those behaviors. And in fact, if you do need some help, in addition to self-care, you should be also taking an opportunity to seek counseling to address those traumas, whether, whatever it may be, abuse, verbal, physical, maybe you're raped, molested, whatever it is. Take that opportunity to seek counseling and go at it from the deepest end of your soul to identify why you're behaving in such a way that that is becoming destructive. And in fact, now you're passing it down to the next generation, which are your children, and whether intentional, unintentional, it's happening. So, that's my positive affirmation.
Amir?
I'll just say
Take your
this.
time, brother. Get winded with it if you need to.
I think the first thing, or one of the things that I'm hoping many people will take away from this, is something that Mustafa touched on, and that is self-care. So many of us have traumas and triggers. I call it traumas and triggers. And you got to take a good hard look at the person that stares back at you from the mirror. And if there's any work that needs to be done, heal up, do the work. Don't just keep being out here burying the things that have happened to you over the course of your life and allowing moments to trigger you when somebody brings you back to that time and that space. Please do the work. Please seek counseling. Please do all of the hard work. If it is a family situation, bring the family into it, but heal up, y'all. We got to do a better job of healing up. Now, I will say this. We are probably the most trauma ridden group of people on the entire face of the planet. So I don't want y'all to think that this is going to be easy, because that's just a proven fact. If you don't take it all the way back to slavery, and like Mustafa said, you bring it just to modern day, so many of us have had so many interesting things happen to us throughout the course of our lives that we never dealt with. Bullying in school, being the dark-skinned member of your family, being the light-skinned member of your family, all these little nuances that we have allowed, that we've allowed to put us in spaces and in boxes that we don't like. But you got to do the work. You got to heal up from those things. As far as the violence goes, again, it starts at home. We've got to get back to being the village. When we were a village, good, bad, indifferent, and that doesn't mean we didn't have crazy people in the village. You're always going to have village idiots. That goes with the village. That's a known fact. We have to identify things a lot sooner as well. I know so many of us are trying our best, and especially what has happened to us in the last 2 years. I smile about this in my own mind. The most we had to worry about, Bill and Mustafa, can probably attest to this. We had the blackout, but the blackout was not the same as being locked down. That's a totally different mind frame and mindset and energy. And I think one of the things that we're dealing with, and a lot of people don't want to talk about that as well, is to a point that you made earlier, Bill, is a lot of the mental issues that we're dealing with have to do with that. There are a lot of people who did not and are not recovering from the fact that they were locked in their homes for a year and some change, and it did stuff to them that they're not talking about. This is why we see the rise in people with support animals and things of that magnitude. And I know as you move around the city, like you said, you two are former law enforcement officers. But I know this for a fact because I've been in my old neighborhood. Even the amount of people, and I know again this has something to do with, like I said, stuff that has been shut down, within our city. The amount of people who are out on the streets who have some of these issues, because I see all kind of interesting things happening with people jumping out in front of a car naked, and saying wild things to each other, and this is real talk in real time. This ain't something that I'm making up. In and including the rise in now having to have obviously more officers on the trains because of a lot of the people who have had these issues, and there's no place for them to go. Let's be clear. There's no place for them to go. Before we had centers and things where they could go and maybe be amongst themselves, get the counseling that Mustafa talked about earlier. But because you don't have that now, they're just in the streets. So you got to keep your head on a swivel. And I promise y'all, please do that. Don't be so caught up in your music that you don't look and pay attention to the things going on around you, because you need to be fully conscious of everything that's happening. And then the positive that I'll give to this is a saying that, became a family creed for myself and my family. And it goes, it's nice to be important, but it's much more important to be nice. Absolutely. I tell everybody, I mean this, and Bill could attest to it, because like you said, that's what I live by. That's how I move and I shake. Yep. And it has opened more doors for me. It has gotten me into spaces and places that I never thought imaginable, just by utilizing that energy and that train of thought for myself. Absolutely. I just encourage you to kind of implement it slowly but surely. If you're not, sure how to do it, again, just be nice. Our jobs here on this planet is to do two things. It's to help turn on the light in others, and it's to be helpful to one another. That's it. If you need a book or religion to tell you that, I'm really worried about you. I'm just keeping it 1,000. If you need a book to tell you that.
You're right about that, brother. Let me tell you something. Jay Burnett, I see you, brother. He said that's so true at Amir, the unprecedented the amount of folks that have been affected by the seclusion. Chet said, Amir, you dropping it, 100. Curtis Ali, my brother, he said you dropping it. So everybody, this is what we doing, brother. Listen, I got Amir Sealy, I got my man Mustafa. This is Real Talk Chronicles. They were my co-hosts. They're gonna be my co-hosts next week, and we're gonna come back. And I'm telling you the topic. Listen, we got Amir, we got Mustafa, we got Angel Ray. I'm gonna reach out to a couple of people. We're gonna see anybody want to join a part of this panel. We're gonna talk about what's happening with the men in America. That's why we're gonna camouflage that title, and then we're gonna bring it in. What's happening with the men in America? I'm Bill Forster. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm asking, Please don't make me beg because I ain't built like that. Share it. If it's on your Facebook, if you're watching it from your Facebook, share it to your people. Let people know this is the positivity that we're putting out here in the world. Amir, I tell you, I can say like this: I'm doing a brunch party, jam packed. It's over. Partying and happiness, it comes in more ways. You understand what I'm saying? Next week, next month, July 16th, I'm just putting out the public service announcements. First and foremost, let me get this out. July 16th, next week, we're doing One Fish, Two Fish reunion. For those that don't know, I was a big part of promoting that One Fish, Two Fish. So if you were a part of that, tell somebody because we're going to have Kevin Grace is in the building. Mustafa, that's another 2-8 person where we was out here strong tonight, a little narcotics at 2-8 building. With that being said, Melba Wilson, support her. Leon Ellis Chocolat. Reggie Wells, quality speakers. Let me just hold them up. Quality speakers, $85, $75 if you mention Real Talk Chronicles. Daily Arts of Survival magazine. Wesley Snipes is on the cover. This is edition number 6. The number 1 martial arts magazine in the country. It's Black owned. You can get it on Amazon. Black Belt magazine, no disrespect to them, but what happened with Deadly Arts of Survival magazine, they started showing a lot of prominent East Coast martial artists that didn't travel around the world, but traveled, but still got pushed back by certain things. Also, too, Soft Illusions Art Gallery. If you're in the Philadelphia area, if you wanted to take a trip for the day, come down and see Malika and her mother at Manioc, and at the Arts Festival. They'll be selling paintings and stuff like that. It's a beautiful thing. Support my wife. It's Black owned. If you're feeling you want to be a Black supporter of a Black business, or you can go on softillusions.com and order something. I say all that to say, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Foster. I never knew from the passing of my mother that this podcast would be here to this day, but it just shows you how things change, and pain had become a venue of expressing yourself. And, we went from the he, she, and how come. I get all those. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. I did this. Shout out to Steve Harvey's. I did all that. And everybody know I did it good. You know what I'm saying? But I just felt it was more to me than just talking about why he, she could. Because right now, if you don't know why he and she don't like you, then you ain't going to never be with nobody because you got the game effed up. And I can tell you that. That's real talk. But here I am with a podcast every Monday. The first Monday of the month, Assemblyman Al Taylor. The second Monday of the month, Dr. Marilyn Corder. The third Monday of the month, First Lady of Def Jam, Allison Williams. And the fourth Monday of the month, Pastor Kevin Graves. Mustafa, one day I might, or Mustafa, maybe you, because more from a Muslim standpoint, I might have to bring you on with Pastor Graves so we can talk a little spiritual thing, because I need you to talk about the Quran. Correct? Did I say it right?
Quran,
yes.
Yeah.
All right, good. I might have to see if you want to come on next Monday too. Might have to double up. Let me tell you something. I appreciate these brothers. I appreciate all of you for supporting RTC. It is a beautiful thing. July 16th is coming around the corner. Just stay positive, stay careful, stay vigilant, watch your back. Try to love thy neighbor. But listen, I ain't telling you to love somebody that don't love you. I ain't gonna preach that shit. That I ain't gonna ever hear that from Bill Foster. You know what I'm trying to say? But listen, Amir, Mustafa, Angel Ray, Bill Foster. I got some people I'm gonna reach out, but some people, please let me know if you want to be a part of this day. It's next Wednesday, baby.
Bill, see if you could bring a transgender in too, brother.
Oh, I don't know.
Pick it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know any. I might know somebody, but I don't. That's a whole different group. That's a whole different script. But you might get. But you know what's so funny? Listen, I got damn near 5,000 Facebook friends. I might have one in there somewhere. So let me just reach out and find out. Everybody, listen, we appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope everybody had a beautiful Father's Day. I hope everybody understood the meaning of Juneteenth. Amir and I talked about that first. Please love thyself. That way you can love your neighbor, love your cover. Let's get back to that village world that we was living in, and just try to make this world a better place, man. Everybody that's Real Talk Chronicles, Amir and Mustafa, hold on for a minute after we go into the green room. Just want
Okay.
y'all to. Good night, everybody.